Why do empaths often possess a striking presence that others notice immediately? Why do people feel an almost magnetic emotional pull toward them, sometimes in ways that feel intense or inexplicable? This video delves into the profound psychological reasons behind the potent emotional and sexual energy empaths often radiate. What many describe as sexual magnetism goes beyond mere physical attraction. It is a form of psychic energy rooted in the deeper layers of the human mind. However, this energy can also generate confusion if it remains unconscious. If you've ever wondered why certain individuals seem to naturally command attention, or why empaths experience relationships more intensely than most, this video will provide insight into the underlying psychological dynamics. This topic isn't just about attraction. It's about recognizing the hidden energies within the psyche and learning to consciously integrate them. Some people navigate the world with an extraordinary sensitivity. They can sense the mood of a room before a single word is spoken. They perceive the concealed pain behind a smile and the quiet longing hidden in everyday conversations. These individuals are often referred to as empaths. Yet, what is frequently overlooked is that their heightened sensitivity extends beyond emotions. It reaches deep into the instinctual layers of the psyche, where desire, creativity, and life energy originate. Within every person, there flows a strong current of psychic energy. Most experience it primarily through its most visible expression, sexual desire. Yet this energy extends far beyond the physical impulse. It is the life force of the psyche itself. It's the same force that fuels creativity, imagination, passion, and transformation. In empaths, this energy often runs with unusual intensity. Why? Because an empath's psyche is not closed off or armored like many others. It is open, receptive, and highly sensitive. Empaths do more than feel their own emotions. They unconsciously absorb the emotional climate of those around them. They sense unspoken tensions, hidden desires, and the quiet loneliness that resides. Within the collective human experience, this constant attunement amplifies their inner reservoir of psychic energy. And when this energy grows stronger, it often manifests as what people call sexual magnetism. Yet this magnetism is often misunderstood. Many assume it is simply physical attraction or seduction. In reality, its origin runs much deeper. Respond to is not just sexuality. They are drawn to the potent vitality of the soul itself. Empaths frequently act as mirrors for the unconscious of those around them. Hidden desires, forgotten passions, and unacknowledged longings come alive in their presence, making them appear mysteriously magnetic. Sometimes empaths can even appear dangerously magnetic to those around them. Yet this intensity brings profound psychological challenges. When instinctual energy rises within the psyche, it never comes alone. It carries the shadow with it. Desire awakens not just love, but projection. Not just intimacy, but obsession. Many empaths find themselves caught in complex emotional entanglements, attracting individuals who unconsciously seek healing, validation, or completion through them. But an empath cannot serve as a vessel for every wandering soul. The real task is not to give this energy away blindly, is conscious transformation. When sexual energy remains unconscious, it draws a person outward into endless emotional complications. But when it is acknowledged and integrated, it transforms into something far more potent. Creativity, insight, and spiritual vitality. An empath who learns to understand this inner force comes to see that their sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a doorway, a gateway to deeper awareness of the psyche and its hidden dynamics, rather than being swept away by the energies of others. Learn to observe them. Instead of losing themselves in emotional currents, they stand within them with clarity. In that moment, something remarkable occurs. The same force that once caused confusion becomes a source of inner power. Desire transforms into awareness. Sensitivity evolves into wisdom, and the empath embarks on the gradual, challenging journey toward wholeness. The deepest purpose of this powerful energy has never been mere attraction. Its true aim is transformation. Those who carry it eventually realize that what they once perceived as simple passion is actually the psyche's call toward wholeness. What is commonly referred to as sexual energy is often misunderstood because it is reduced to mere physical instinct. Most people assume it exists solely in the body, linked to desire, attraction, and reproduction. Yet beneath this biological layer lies something far more profound. Sexual energy is not just a bodily impulse. It is a manifestation of a deeper psychic force that flows through the entire human soul. Within the psyche's depths, there exists a current of energy-seeking expression. Its energy is ancient, instinctual, and creative. It is the same force that drives a person to fall in love, create art, search for meaning, and pursue personal transformation. When it emerges as sexual desire, it simply reveals one of its most visible forms. But the psyche never confines this energy to a single channel. It continually seeks to move, evolve, and express itself in multiple ways. This is why the same energy that generates desire can also inspire creativity, imagination, and emotional intensity. When someone feels a deep attraction to another person, it is not purely physical. Something within the psyche is seeking connection, recognition, and a sense of completion. The soul recognizes in another person a reflection of its own hidden depths. In that moment, sexual energy becomes a bridge connecting to inner worlds in highly sensitive individuals, especially those who feel the emotions of others intensely. This psychic energy often becomes more concentrated. Their inner life is more active, more responsive to subtle emotional cues, more open to unconscious influences. Because their psyche absorbs these nuanced emotional atmospheres, the inner current of energy grows stronger. What manifests outwardly as magnetic presence or strong attraction is often the visible expression of this heightened psychic vitality. Yet this energy is never solely about physical connection. On a deeper level, it represents the psyche's effort to move toward wholeness. Human beings are not psychologically complete at birth. Aspects of the personality remain hidden in the unconscious, waiting to be discovered and integrated. Sexual attraction frequently arises when another person embodies qualities that the psyche lacks or has repressed. The powerful draw toward them reflects the unconscious search for balance. Thus, what is commonly perceived as mere desire often carries symbolic significance. It reveals the soul's movement toward transformation. The instinct may propel a person outward, but the psychological process behind it is inward through attraction, longing, and emotional intensity. The psyche seeks to expand awareness and reclaim lost parts of itself. When this energy is understood only superficially, individuals are controlled by it, chasing desire without recognizing the deeper psychological dynamics. But when one begins to observe this energy consciously, transformation becomes possible. The same force that once manifested as raw instinct now emerges as a powerful psychological engine, capable of driving creativity, self-discovery, and personal growth. Some individuals have a psyche that is far more receptive than average. Their inner world is not shielded by thick defenses. Instead, it remains open to the subtle emotional signals that constantly flow between people. They perceive shifts in tone, tension, and mood long before these are openly expressed. What others miss, they feel almost instantly. Such a psyche exists in a state of heightened awareness. This openness creates a unique relationship between the individual and the surrounding emotional environment. Every room carries an atmosphere. Every interaction holds hidden currents of feeling, and every person unconsciously radiates inner states that are seldom verbalized. A sensitive individual absorbs these signals as if they were their own. Unknowingly, the empath becomes a receiver for the emotional energy circulating within the collective human field. Because their psyche does not clearly distinguish between internal and external emotional impressions, these energies accumulate within their inner world. Over time, what belongs to others can merge with what originates from within, creating an intensified psychological environment. Emotions feel deeper. Relationships carry greater intensity. Experiences resonate with a heightened sense of meaning or tension. Within the deeper layers of the psyche, emotional energy and instinctual energy are closely intertwined. Feelings are not isolated mental events. They're connected to the fundamental forces that drive human behavior. When an empath absorbs the emotional states of others, they also take in fragments of these instinctual energies. Longing, attraction, loneliness, admiration, and desire constantly circulate between people, even when unspoken, as these energies accumulate within a receptive psyche. The inner current grows stronger. The empath may feel unusually alive, emotionally intense, or magnetically drawn to others. Yet the source of this intensity often remains unconscious. It can appear as a strong attraction to certain individuals, sudden emotional closeness, or a mysterious bond that forms without explanation. Others may perceive this as personal magnetism. The empath seems to evoke powerful reactions, admiration, fascination, or deep emotional attachment. But this is not merely about personality or appearance. It emerges from the empath's ability to resonate with the unconscious emotional states that others carry. People often feel seen, understood, or emotionally awakened in their presence. Even without understanding why, this resonance can awaken strong instincts in those around the empath. Hidden desires, unmet emotional needs, and forgotten longings may surface in response to their sensitivity. In this way, the empath functions as a psychological mirror, reflecting aspects of others that are usually buried beneath daily life. However, this same openness can create confusion within the empath's own psyche. When multiple emotional influences enter the inner world unconsciously, it becomes difficult to distinguish what belongs to the self and what originates from others. Emotional boundaries blur, and instinctual energies intensify without clear direction. As a result, the empath exists in a psychological environment where emotional and instinctual forces are unusually strong, constantly shaping their inner experience and influencing the relationships they form. When a powerful instinctual force rises within the psyche, the first human reaction is often resistance. People fear the intensity of their own desires. Believing such energy could lead to chaos or a loss of control, as a result, people often try to suppress, deny, or push powerful instinctual energy into the unconscious. Yet the psyche does not allow these forces to vanish simply because the conscious mind refuses to acknowledge them. What is rejected by awareness does not disappear. It descends into the shadow. The shadow holds everything the personality refuses to recognize within itself. Instincts, impulses, desires, and emotional drives deemed unacceptable by the conscious self gather there, yet remain alive, waiting for expression. When sexual energy is suppressed or misunderstood, it does not lose power. Instead, it becomes distorted, subtly influencing behavior. In sensitive individuals, especially those with heightened emotional awareness, this conflict can feel even more intense. They may experience strong attractions, emotional bonds, or psychological connections that seem to arise out of nowhere. Beneath these experiences lies a deeper movement of the psyche, striving to reconcile instinct with consciousness. The energy itself is not the problem. The challenge arises when it remains unconscious. Integration begins when a person stops viewing instinctual energy as shameful or dangerous. Instead, it is recognized as a natural and vital force within the human psyche. Sexual energy, in its deeper sense, is not simply about physical desire. It is a form of life energy seeking expression, its movement, and transformation. When this energy is brought into conscious awareness, it no longer acts blindly. The individual can observe how desire arises, which emotional patterns accompany it, and the psychological needs underlying it. Attraction often highlights aspects of the personality that have not yet been developed or fully accepted. People who strongly affect us psychologically often reflect qualities that exist within our own unconscious. Through this awareness, instinct gradually becomes a source of understanding rather than confusion. The individual no longer reacts impulsively to every emotional or physical attraction. Instead, they begin to perceive the symbolic meaning behind these experiences. Desire transforms into a signal pointing toward inner growth, rather than merely an external pursuit. This process transforms the relationship between instinct and consciousness. Instead of being driven by unconscious impulses, the individual learns to channel this energy into meaningful forms of expression. The same force that once caused emotional turmoil can now fuel creativity, insight, and psychological growth. For highly sensitive individuals, this transformation is especially significant. Their heightened emotional awareness grants access to powerful inner currents. But without integration, these currents can lead to overwhelming experiences or complex relationships. When instinct and awareness unite, energy that once felt chaotic becomes structured and purposeful. Sexual energy no longer pulls the person outward into endless emotional entanglements. Instead, it participates in a deeper psychological movement toward wholeness, guiding the individual toward a more conscious and balanced relationship with their own nature. Ultimately, the question is not why some people carry such intense energy within them, but how the psyche intends to use it. For those whose sensitivity opens them to the emotional currents of others, life often feels more intense than for most people. Attractions are stronger, emotional bonds deeper, and instinctual forces move with unusual strength. What many interpret as mere sexual magnetism is actually a sign of a large reservoir of living psychic energy seeking expression. Yet energy alone does not determine a person's path. What matters is whether it remains unconscious or is illuminated by awareness. When unconscious, the individual is swept along like a leaf in a powerful current. Desires feel overwhelming, relationships become tangled with projections, and emotional experiences grow complicated and draining. The energy shapes life from behind the scenes, influencing choices and attachments without clear understanding. Yet when a person turns inward and begins to observe these forces within themselves, a transformation occurs. The same energy that once caused confusion becomes a source of insight. Traction reveals hidden aspects of the personality. Emotional intensity uncovers the depths of the inner world. And instinct itself becomes a guide toward deeper self-understanding. For the sensitive soul, this transformation is essential. Their openness allows them to experience the psyche with remarkable depth, but it also demands greater consciousness. They must learn to distinguish what belongs to them versus what belongs to others, and recognize the difference between genuine connection and unconscious projection. Through this process, powerful energy within gradually finds a new direction. Instead of being scattered through endless emotional exchanges, it begins to converge toward the center of the personality. And when this occurs, something remarkable happens. The energy that once appeared merely as desire begins to express itself as creativity, vision, emotional wisdom, and psychological strength. What once seemed like a burden transforms into a source of vitality. What once created confusion becomes a pathway toward inner growth. The deepest purpose of this energy was never simply attraction between two people. Its true aim is the expansion of consciousness itself. Those who carry such intensity are therefore confronted with a profound task to transform instinct into awareness, passion into understanding, and sensitivity into wisdom. Only then does the energy fulfill its true role, not as a force that controls the individual, but as a guiding force, leading them toward the gradual realization of their own psychological wholeness.